And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice. In other words, do it and make them a king. How y'all doing out there again? Freddie calls the chicken in. Hope everything going well with everybody as always. Everybody on the up and up. Today I just want to talk about I guess you can say kings. You know, I was just thinking about at this point in time, we're gonna be reading out of First Samuel today, and I was just thinking about this. Of course, it kind of correlating in today's time the way people see people. You know how certain people just go all wild for a certain individual and things like that, and they really, a lot of people put people in a place where that they really should not be. And I'm kind of going in a naturally, I could say naturally too, but really spiritually because they put some people put people in a place where they shouldn't be, for as spiritually as well. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm saying it in this way. They put people where God should be. And, we're going to talk about the children of Israel, where what they asked for. And really that's kind of was they downfall, because when they actually wanted to be like other nations, and like I say, God wanted them, they were with the creator, and God did so many things for the children of Israel. And but like I said, he ain't gonna go back on this word at all. And they want to be like other nations. And right here, what we're gonna read today in First Samuel, the 8th chapter, is where God gave them what they wanted. Cause previously it was just judges. God put His Spirit in the judge, and the judge will hear from God, and then that's how they, it was ruled. They obey what the judge said. Samuel, we're gonna talk about. I think he was the last one in this town. Yeah, I think he was. After that, it was just kings, and they had a lot of bad kings that wasn't right in God's eyesight. But that's what they asked for. So, right here, we're gonna start. Let's see, where are we gonna start? Well, I give you kind of a backstory. What the problem was. Being that Samuel was getting older. But his sons didn't take after Samuel. It's something else. But that's how it be sometimes. Sometimes children don't. Like we hear about pastors' kids and all that they turn out totally different than what their parents were. And that was the case, with Samuel's sons. And, Samuel, not a word that he said fell to the ground. But like I said, it didn't mean that the kids took over. The kids got caught up in a lot of things. What happened today with money and all this other things, that came with being the son, father, being who Samuel was. 'Cause like I said, Samuel was up there with God, But anyway, being that was the case, they had wanted him to they wanted a king because they wanted to be like every other nation. And right here, I'm gonna start at I start at the 5th verse, 1 Samuel 8 in the 5th verse, and here it goes. I started at 4th verse. After they, like I said, made their case, about what they wanted. The fourth verse starts, Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramoth and said unto him, Behold, thou art old. You old, man. And thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord, and the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me. And like I said, that's woo. You don't want to reject God. That I should not reign over them, because that's like I said, that was the thing. That's why I want to stop right there. But that's the thing. God don't want anybody that's in His place. He got a problem with that, and you can look for something to happen after that. Being like that. Let's continue to read 8th verse. According to all the works which I have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the king, unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that should reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariot. So in other words, they were going to serve him in his army. That's kind of what that means. That's what the king was going to do. And like I said, they were going to pretty much be his servants, really. He said, and appoint them for himself. So it's going to be different people doing different things, and they were going to do the will of the king. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground. Yeah, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and in instruments of his chariot. So in other words, to make him look big. In short, to make himself feel like a great person. And he would take your daughters to be confectionaries and to be cooks and to be bakers. And he would take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants. So in other words, that's what the king was going to do. Some of the attributes, it may be yours, but if he got a servant and the servant like what you got, it's theirs. So I continue, and he would take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliness young men and your asses, and put them to his work. So he gonna take what he want from you. And this all happened. It happened. The kings over Israel. It was some were good, but majority of them, they were nothing. It divided and divided. I'm gonna probably get to that one. Make me thinking about it. I know one really was a bad king and really caused a division of Israel. But I get to it. He would take the tenth of the sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king. which ye have chosen, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, which with them not obeying the voice of Samuel is just like them not obeying God. And they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, which God didn't want. They supposed to have been set apart from all other nations. All the other nations supposed to respect them, but they didn't obey God. And that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. When God was doing all the fighting for them and gave them all the victory. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord, which God heard him anyway. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice. In other words, do it. And make them a king. That's because that's what they want. Make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. So at this time, like I say, the biggest point, they didn't supposed to be like other nations. God didn't want them. They supposed to have been set apart. All the other nations in the beginning should have. They should have had an example to all the other nations, that God is God. That's what God wanted. But like I said, they kept serving all these other gods, and I make me think about one king, Ahab, when he became king. He had his wife, which caused them to really err. He brought in all those idols for Baal. And like I say, God, the first commandment when he came out, thou shalt have no other gods before me, and they suffered a whole lot. But I'm gonna go to a king that really, another bad king. I'm gonna go to let's see first. All right, we at Second Chronicles, the 10th chapter. I'm just gonna read just a little bit since the video getting kind of long. But however, this kind of where the split came between 10 tribes and 2 other tribes of the children of Israel, which that's the worst thing to me, where somebody comes in and it gets split up your family. You don't want that to be, that's what I feel that was really a turning point to me, to the children of Israel. 'Cause after that they was together, but however, that's where they came a split. But you can do a little bit more research. You probably on it, but right here, Solomon, after Solomon passed, Rehoboam, took the reins as being king, but he ended up getting bad counsel from people around his age range, put it that way. So I started the third verse, 2 Chronicles 10:3. And they sent and called him. So Jeroboam and all Israel came and spake to Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore ease thou somewhat the grievous servitude of thy father, and his heavy yoke that he put upon us, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Come again unto me after 3 days. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men that had stood before Solomon, his father, while he yet lived, saying, What counsel give ye me to return answer to this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou be kind to this people and please them and speak good words to them, they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel which the old man gave him, and took counsel with the young men that were brought up with him, that stood before him. And he said unto them, what have I give ye that we may return answer to this people which have spoken to me, saying, ease somewhat the yoke that thy father did put upon us. And the young man that were brought up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shalt thou answer the people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it somewhat lighter for us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. For whereas my father put a heavy yoke upon you, I will put more to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king bade, saying, come again to me on the third day. And the king answered them roughly. And King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men, and answered them after the voice of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereto. My father chastised you with whoops, but I will chastise you with scorpion. So that big talk, you have in today's time people that talk that big talk, them threatens. So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of God, that the Lord might perform his word which he spake by the hand of Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And when all Israel saw that the king would not hearken unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Israel, and now, David, see to thine own house. So all Israel went to their tents. But as for the children of Israel that dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Hadoram, that was over the tribute, and the children of Israel stoned him with stone, that he died. But King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. And Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. So the split, it really, kingship was a terrible idea. But like I said, God don't force himself on nobody. You have an opportunity or choice, but if you choose wrong, you see that bad gonna come after that, especially when you hear from God and you don't accept what he say. But that's why the big split, the family split, the 12 tribes split, but it's you read, certain books in the Bible, you kind of match it up to in today's time. What happens when it's so much division, when division gets into play and arrogance and all that, all them other things, it messes up a people, but I hope you got some out of the message. You probably got something else in the message too. But I just, if you read the Bible, the thing that you see in today's time is, it's nothing new under the sun. But division is bad. It's just bad. And it's sometimes it's good to heed warnings. God bring warnings. He bring through people in different ways, to make you see things. But when you don't heed warnings, you can look for bad things to happen. You can just look for bad things to happen, and it would take God to change things, put it that way. But anyway, I just wanted to put that in here today. That's what I was had on my spirit, did tell y'all today. I don't even know how to really title this, but it's good to follow the instruction of God, especially when he's dealing with through people. You know, Samuel was the most credible person, at this time, the judge over the children of Israel, and they knew that. But they didn't adhere, and sometimes, they probably had even more different reasons. And that shows also that people look at you in totality. They look at everything about you, and not just you. They look at everything that's connected to you. And this time, they saw their sons was out of line. His sons was out of line, and then walking his ways. So because that, I want this. You know what I'm saying? I hear you, but hey, this is a problem. This is a fault I have with you. But the fault wasn't necessarily with him, but it was with his sons. And like I said, that was a reason or segue of them like trying to be like the other people that God didn't want them to be like. But anyway, I see y'all the next go round. This video is already too long. But I just wanted to give you that, give you this today. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all on the next go round.